last time on the Primal Trail, we started building this. A giant whale jump completely made of wood without a single nail or screw in it, entirely held together by wood joinery. And since I'm only using hand tools to make this, I wasn't able to get all the decking on in time. So in this video, we'll be finishing that up, but also I had you guys vote on what sort of landing you wanted for it, with the choices either being fully made of dirt or half wood and half dirt. And to my surprise, you all voted for the full dirt landing. So alongside finishing up the jump, we are going to make a dirt landing unlike any dirt landing I've ever seen.
Solid, man. Okay, so I never really got a chance to explain how I'm doing all of this, and I want to take that opportunity now. These dowels are actually store-bought. I bought them from Lowe's for one reason only, that they are already dry. These are kiln dry dowel pieces. So once these go in there, they are the size that they will always be to a certain extent. This stuff, the decking, since we just kind of cut it, it's green. It's going to shrink more than what it's sitting at now. So the idea or the theory is you put this non-shrinking dowel into something that is shrinking, and it's going to grip these dowels, and it's just going to be stuck after that because these will shrink and these will not. Pretty simple concept, and it works really, really well.
On top of that, I'm also using a variation of a method known as dovetail nailing, just without the nails. Dovetail nailing is when you hammer in nails at opposing angles to each other. This creates a tighter joint than your conventional face nailing, which is the method we all know when you hammer nails directly straight in. The only difficulty with dovetail nailing is there's an increased chance of splitting the wood like this. But in our case, with the dowels, I'm pre-drilling all the holes so there is no problem, and the end result is a board that cannot be removed.
Here, let's put it in the vise and see if I can just pull it apart. Let's just put a lot of weight into it and see.
Now I put these boards together just for a demonstration, so they really weren't even tight, but they still held with all of my weight pulling them down. So just to demonstrate further, I went and cut our boards in half so you guys could see exactly what was going on inside with this sort of wood joint.
So you can see here that if you do it at this angle like this, you're going across several areas of grain as opposed to going straight up and down. You're getting this opposing force. You can't pull that out. The geometry of it won't allow for this to come out unless you pull out these dowels. There's just no way around that. And added on top of the green wood shrinking, this should never come apart.
Unless you saw it in half and take out one of the dowels. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a brief explanation on all that because I got a lot of questions last time surrounding how that worked. And now that you all have the knowledge, we can time-lapse our way through getting the rest of the boards on. I'm no Bernini, but instead of making a boring old dirt landing, I wanted to sculpt something into it. So I got out some clay and played around for a bit until I came up with this. The Lizard Lander. This totally looks like a 4-year-old made it, but it helped me better visualize how I would bring this thing to a larger scale.
It looks so bad. It looks so bad.
Regardless of how terrible this one looked, I was determined to make a huge version much better. So I pulled out the skid steer for a couple hours and piled up a massive mound so I could start sculpting a massive lizard. Now the primal trail is primal because 99% of the time I use only hand tools to make the trail, but the other 1% of the time is when I use this skid steer. If I didn't allow myself to use this, we'd be spending 2 weeks moving this dirt by hand by myself as opposed to 2 hours, which would make these videos very hard to produce. But for each day I use the skid steer, I also donate $200 to Team Trees to offset any CO2 emissions that happen. And I highly encourage any of you to join me as well. If you donate under the Team Backyard Trail Builds, I'll show you on the next episode like this. And this trail has officially planted 603 trees now, which is pretty freaking cool. Anyway, after a few hours of shoveling things around, I was able to get things in the right spot, but I was having a bit of trouble visualizing a lizard on this large a scale. So I took a trip to Walmart and sorted through their fine selection of reptiles. And after much consideration, I settled on this guy as the model for the landing.
Okay, so we are out here after our little Walmart adventure to find the perfect inspiration for this project. And yeah, we are just gonna try and mimic this guy into the dirt. I don't know how well that's gonna go. I've never really sculpted or worked with clay or anything like that, but we're gonna give it a go. Because if we can make this into this, how cool will that look? That will be pretty insane looking.
This process of sculpting a shape into dirt was completely new to me, but my theory was to overfill the areas where the parts of the lizard would be, pack it down as best I could, and then carve off the excess, which would then reveal our lizard underneath. I think the clay tends to hold better if you pack it all as a whole, as opposed to adding individual sections one at a time. At least that's how it works with wood anyways. Nevertheless, I decided to tackle the hardest part first, the head. After a whole day of doing this, I was able to get the head and the front legs done, which was actually more than I thought I'd get done because at first, I really didn't think it was going to work. But I was able to sort out a method that eventually got the job done. And the very next day, I came out early and determined to get the lizard lander completely finished. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that all dirt is not made equal. My dirt has high amounts of clay in it, so it holds its shape really well. And your dirt may contain lots of sand, and it might be impossible for you to do something like this. Don't get upset though, the likelihood of this lizard cracking into an almost unrecognizable pile of dirt is almost certain. Luckily for me, I don't really care. Making this lizard was a blast, and it will still function perfectly as a landing, even if it falls apart. And on that note, I'd say it's finally time we test this thing. But first, let me tell you how to get 15% off a bike rack just like this one. U-Haul is a huge supporter of this trail series, so they're giving anyone who watches 15% off their giant selection of bike racks. All you need to do is go to uhaul.com and find yourself an awesome bike rack. Then, at checkout, enter the code BTB in all caps.
Okay, today is riding day, and I'm terrified. okay? I don't know that gave me any confidence, just getting onto it. It's easy to get onto. Felt fine. I'm so nervous. I think that's enough speed to do it. Oh, I normally have a guinea pig to try this first. It's only gonna get worse the more I sit here and think about it. I hate these kind of features where you can't try them. You just have to do them. No, you've got it. All incorrect. Oh, so smooth. No problem at all. Oh, that doesn't feel like anything. That's stupid.
I can't wait to have you guys vote on what comes next, because somehow all of this stuff is riding perfectly. The only problem I was having was getting to the landing of the lizard, but I can easily fix that by pulling back this kicker so I can come in with just a bit more speed. So we'll have to do that at the start of the next video. But for now, let's have you guys vote on what comes next. And staying on theme with animal-shaped features, option 1 I'm calling the turtle top jump. We have a perfect clearing for a nice big dirt jump that I'm thinking would be pretty fun to shape into a giant turtle that you can jump over. And for option 2, there's also a pretty good spot for a shark fin type feature that would kind of berm to the left and then hip jump to the right. Both of these options sound like a freaking blast to make, so I'm game for either. You can vote here at this link or the link in the description at backyardtrailbuilds.com/vote, and we'll build whatever you guys vote on next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next build.